Hey guys, it is Austin here, and I wanted to do sort of like a question event. So, like, I put up a post a few days ago allowing you guys to all ask me whatever sort of questions you wanted to ask me, and I got a lot of questions in, so I figured I'd answer them today, and if this goes over well and gets a lot of views, I will do more of these, because I can't have all of you on a podcast, although I will try to get a lot of you on 10-minute podcasts, because I have all summer to do that, plus who knows how much longer. So I will try to get most of you on podcasts. So, anyways, first question comes from Nerds and Sasha. So, at Nerds and Sasha, I'm sorry. How the hell do you keep up with your league? I got bored after a while and just stopped mine. How do you do this and not get bored at all? It's just you gotta make it interesting enough for you to like as well. It's a balance. You gotta make it interesting enough for you to keep going with as well as trying to make it interesting for them to stay in, because like it's just a balance. I really like doing my league, and I had a lot of fun with it, so that was good. WWE News and the Brash, and he asked, is WWE News and the Brash account something that can reach the top, and how can you interview someone? I'm not really familiar with your account that much. If you work hard, yeah, of course you can. How can I interview someone? Well, I do my 10-minute podcasts. I do those through Skype. So I usually ask people if they have a Skype, and if they don't, they usually can just download it because it's an app and it's pretty easy to make an account. And it's also on the computer. So Johnny Orlando asks, have you ever watched the show Friends, and if you did, who was your favorite character and least favorite? I haven't went in deep into the series, but from what I've seen so far, it's a tie between... No, actually, I think it's Joey. Joey's probably my favorite character. Least favorite? I don't really have a least favorite character, though. It's a good show. So, Redesign, Rebuild, Reclaim asks, how did you get into wrestling? So, it was about... I remember the first Raw I watched, but before I started watching Raw, I was watching all of my dad's wrestling DVDs. So, it was like January, and I went up to his room, and he had the Undertaker versus Mick Foley at King of the Ring, the Hell in a Cell match. And of course, that's a classic. Like, if you haven't watched that one, then you're stupid. Because if that's the one that, like, you need to watch. It was such a good match and everything. And I asked him what he was doing, and he was like, oh, watching wrestling. And I was like, can I join in? Because, kids like to aspire to be their parents. And so he said, yeah. So I sat down and we started watching it. And it was really cool because that was the match where Undertaker threw Mankind off the cell. And I remember, it's funny that I remember this. So at the end of the match, when they played Undertaker's theme song, it's the dinging, and Mick Foley, or Mankind, was being carried out on a stretcher, and I was like, is he dead? And because of the Undertaker music. But anyways, so and then from there on, I started watching wrestling, and I started buying DVDs at FYE. And then I started watching Raw, and I remember my first Raw was the one where they were dealing with the volcano in Iceland, and they couldn't get people back from the tour in the UK, so they had Raw with, they had to combine Raw and SmackDown. So I remember, Triple H and CM Punk did a segment. I don't really remember much else. I can't remember, but I think it was that same month where Edge and Christian were doing Pick Your Poison matches for each other, because they didn't like each other. Okay, next question from Joel Murphy 29. Who do you think will become Mr. Money in the Bank this year? It's a toss-up between Kevin Owens and Cesaro. I think I would go with Kevin Owens because, I mean, he's selling out merchandise. He's a fan favorite with the IGWC. He's a really good heel. He's putting in a lot of work, and he's athletic for a guy of his size. He's one of my role models as well because he can do all these aerial moves and still be a larger person. So Kevin Owens, I think, is my number one choice to win. Cesaro number two is because it's been a long time coming, and hopefully Creative knows that he's over with the fans, although Creative doesn't really seem to know much of anything. Okay. Rack Wrestling, this is Brady. He says, I know you for a long time. Which league do you think is the best, and what's the most farthest place in the world that you have a I have a friend that lives there. That's a couple questions. So, which league do I like the best? Like I said, I like a lot of leagues. And I think OTC League, because that's where I've met all of my IGWC friends who are other leagues that I like CWA and AWRP and stuff like that. And the most farthest place in the world where I have a friend that lives there. I don't have any actual friends that live far away, but like IGWC, Diva Superstar fan page Go, which is Juliana. She lives in Lebanon, which is 7 hours time zone difference. I don't know how far it is exactly from here, but I'm in the US. So, alright. Cut slowly. Bray Wyatt or Bray with the family? Bray with the family, because it doesn't seem like he was getting very far without the family, other than the Undertaker match, which he lost anyways. And I like the whole family thing. And plus, you know, like, it gives Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman something to do, because without the Wyatt family, they're all just kind of like talent, I guess. Alright, so when WWE has the brand split, they have a pay-per-view called Bragging Rights. There was 5 superstars from Raw and 5 superstars from SmackDown. I'm familiar with this. This is one of my favorite pay-per-views from way back in the day. If you were to make your own 5-8 and 5 Bragging Rights team, who would you put in it? I'm going to use almost the same teams that I used for my Rider video that I just did, and if you haven't watched that, go watch that, by the way. So it'd be Roman Reigns, Sheamus, Del Rio, Jericho, and Kevin Owens versus John Cena, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Ambrose, and AJ Styles. I'm not going to put Ryder in because unfortunately in real life he's not at that level yet, but in the Ryder video he was on Cena's team. By the way, that, like I just said, that's one of my favorite pay-per-views from 2010, because 2010 is probably my favorite year in wrestling itself, because that's when I started watching. GRW League asks, how did you start your league, and do you like my league? I started my league in April of 2015, and I knew how to work my way around Photoshop, so I pretty much just asked people who I was friends with on my fan page account, like, to join, and then slowly it got more popular, because I would go on other leagues' accounts and comment, hey, if you like this league, come join my league, which I find very annoying when people do that to me, so I'm sorry if I've done that to you. That was way back in the day, though, so I probably haven't. WWE Cool League asks, who do you think is the most underrated WWE and most underrated NXT superstar? Zack Ryder for WWE, and for NXT, I don't know. Chad Gable, probably. Like, I would say Ty Dillinger, but he's over as hell with the fans. Like, and I don't know, like, and his wrestling skills are really good too. So, but I'm gonna say Chad Gable. This username is really rare. Asks, what are your thoughts on Brock Lesnar returning to UFC? I don't watch UFC, so I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, this is huge, you know? Like, I don't really watch UFC. I am gonna order UFC 200 and UFC 202 because Brock Lesnar's going to be on UFC 200, and then CM Punk's going to be on UFC 202 if he can finally have a match, which hopefully he will, and doesn't need a Z-Pack from the doctor from WWE. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down in my questions. Taken by Wrestling asks, do you have any plans for your league to return in the future? I miss my league a little bit, but at the same time, I know that putting it off to the side is probably a good move for me, so I don't know. If my schedule doesn't absolutely suck, then I'm going to do it in the fall, probably. Okay. Diva Superstars fan page Go asks, Angelina or Velvet? So I don't watch TNA much, so I don't really know a lot about the knockouts, but what I do know is that Velvet is involved with the storyline with the Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, so I guess I'd say Velvet. I don't really watch TNA that much at all, if anything. JUso.RP asks, what are your best 5 accounts that you met on here? I don't really... Alright, best 5 accounts that I've met through a league. So if I've met you before my league, then you don't count. It would have to be OTC League, CWA, AWRP, Diva Superstars Fan Page Go, and Johnny Orlando, I think. Because, well, it's a tie between Johnny Orlando and Demir. Or Dreadkiller, I mean. I'm sorry. Because I met them through the league and stuff. So WWE Page 24 asks, what is your favorite league? I think I mentioned that already. Probably OTC, but credit to all the other guys. WWE Charles Ryan 9 asks, what is better, NXT or Raw? I guess NXT, because there's no commercials and there's not really a lot of promos. There's like maybe one, and I can live with that. And the wrestling down there and the talent down there is phenomenal. And Raw, 3 hours is just too long, and I don't know, I just can't pay attention for that long, especially on a Monday night where I have school the next day on Tuesday. So, alright. Ask Wrestling, Wrestling Everything, I mean, asks, what do you think about my sister? You know, she's cool. She helps me with the league sometimes. Like, if I need to sleep, she'll, like, just close matches, and I have a couple of people that do that as well, so that's good. Alright, RocketCon.RP asks, do you know RocketCon? No, because I don't really watch Impact Wrestling, but I know of her because of your account. And then, how would you book the John Cena heel turn? If you watch my Ryder video that I just posted, I turned John Cena heel, and this is how I would do it. So I would have Ryder on Cena's Survivor Series team, Cena and Ryder, the sole 2 survivors. They win the match. Yay, everything like that. And then fast forward, Ryder wins the WWE Championship, and it's Ryder versus Kevin Owens at Fastlane in a no DQ match. So John comes in with the chair, and he's like, can I hit Kevin Owens? And Ryder's like, yeah, and then he hits Ryder instead, and then drags Kevin on top of him, giving Kevin the WWE Championship. And then that sets up Ryder versus Cena for WrestleMania 33. Cena says that he never cared about the fans because they never showed him respect after he respected them for like 15 years plus. So he decided it's not worth it. And then like he starts like to get under Ryder's skin. He starts hanging out with Emma. So then Ryder does the same to Nikki Bella, and then that leads up to their match at WrestleMania, which Ryder wins. Alright. By the way, that was Nathan Fisher who asked that question. That's all the time I have for these questions. I'll do this again in the future, maybe. So, if you want to see more of these videos in the future, just leave a like and a comment telling me you want to do them below. Alright. I'll see you guys later. Bye.